travel isn't just about destinations, it's about the people you meet, the cultures you immerse yourself in, the stories you carry home. I'm Relebogile Mabocha, and on my travel feature, I take you on a journey beyond the guidebook. Each week, I connect with fellow travelers, insiders, and storytellers to bring you the heart of every place. Whether it's a hidden gem right here in South Africa or a dream destination abroad. Join me as we travel through conversations, memories, and inspiration. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
You're with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
Let's walk the talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856.
92.7 and 106 FM.
7 minutes after 9 o'clock. Dumelang. Bonjour. Dimashero Neabudzi. Sanbonani. Welcome to the Tuesday edition of the Clement Manyathela Show. It's wonderful to have you with us here on 702 as part of the 702 family. We always love being in your company. I hope you are well this morning. All the best with all of the plans you have today. We start with the 702 open line as always on 011-883-0702. WhatsApp's on 072-702-1702. How amazing was Banyana Banyana against Mali last night? Huh? They cruised 4-0 into the quarterfinals to seal the top spot in their Women's Africa Cup of Nations group. So we can safely say, I think, that they're on track to defend the CAF Women's Africa Cup of Nations title. What a stunning victory last night. Did you watch it? How proud are you of Banyana Banyana? Remember, we actually broadcast the Clement Manyathela Show from OR Tambo International Airport the last time they won the Women's Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco. This was like back in 2022. It's like 3 years ago. My goodness, time flies. Well, I have a feeling we may be back at OR Tambo International Airport to welcome them as champions again. How impressed are you about their performance? Give us a call. Here's another question. Where is Mcebisi Jonas? Where is Mcebisi Jonas, President Cyril Ramaphosa's U.S. envoy? I don't think we've been told anything about his recent efforts in the U.S. Remember, he wasn't even part of the delegation when President Cyril Ramaphosa was in the Oval Office meeting with President Trump. He was appointed as South Africa's special envoy to the United States, tasked with promoting a healthy working relationship between South Africa and the U.S. after tensions really soured and soared between the two nations. But what has he actually done so far? Because the information I have is that not so much. In fact, we haven't seen him start the work or travel to the US to meet with counterparts or some in the Trump administration, unless, of course, things have been kept under wraps. But I highly doubt it. And please correct me if you have any other information that contradicts what I say. I've said before, and I'll say it again, I don't think he has made any headway. I don't think he has been well received in the US. I think he has been given the cold shoulder, much like what happened with Ibrahim Rasool, the former ambassador. Remember the re-emergence of his past remarks about President Donald Trump. Mcebisi Jonas, that is. Back in 2020, he made anti-Trump utterances referring to the current US president as a racist and a homophobe. The presidency at the time said, we don't think that Jonas's remarks will get him into trouble with Washington. But when I was in Washington, D.C., and I was meeting with some Republicans there, I got a completely different story. And I put that information to Vincent Magwenya when we were in the U.S. In fact, we were right at the White House, just outside the Oval Office, ahead of Ramaphosa's meeting with Trump, when I did a crossing with my colleague John Pellman on his show, and I brought Vincent into that interview to try and clarify what's happening with Jonas. Remember that? I've got Vincent Magwenya here to come through because remember what I was telling you earlier about the delegation. So I just want to quickly ask him why we don't have Mcebisi Jonas here, Vincent Magwenya. Thank you so much for being here with us. He is the presidential envoy. He is not here. What's going on?
No, his role is a backroom role, number one. Number two, he's been involved in the preparations leading up to today. So his absence has no consequence to this meeting.
Yeah.
And he will continue with other engagements following this meeting.
My from what I understand, Vincent, is that the Americans are not happy with him about what he had said. And there were issues with giving him access or even giving him a visa to come to America.
I'm not aware of visa issues. I am aware that there were some displeasure that were expressed, and we think issues after today.
Yeah.
If not, then the president will have to kind of consider his options in that regard. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think the president might as well start considering his other options. But what's crucial in that interview I did with Vincent from the White House is that he says, yes, there are some displeasures that were expressed. He said that there are some displeasures. When I said my sources are telling me that they didn't want him here, he says there are displeasures that have been expressed, but I don't know much about the visas, but there are displeasures that have been expressed, and we're dealing with that. And if that fails, the president might have to consider his options. That's what Vincent said then. Now, the expelled South African ambassador to the U.S., Ibrahim Rasool, was on this show about a month ago, and I asked him a question about Jonas and his efforts there in the U.S. Remember what he told us? What do you think of Mcebisi Jonas? He wasn't part of the delegation, by the way, when we went to the Oval Office. And I heard when I was there in D.C. that there were some concerns that were raised about him. I know the presidency released a statement saying, no, there's a reason why he wasn't there. It wasn't because of anything else. But I heard on good authority that there were questions asked to the South African government about Mcebisi Jonas and what he has said before. What are your thoughts? Do you think that's the person who can play an effective role in trying as that envoy in trying to reset these relations?
I think that I have absolute respect for Mcebisi Jonas's credentials and his integrity, and so I supported the idea that he should be the envoy and not be made the ambassador designate, because then he will be kept in limbo and not be able to do the kind of work while he is in limbo. I think that he's going to probably be unpalatable, and I must say that my sources in the U.S. also said that there were severe questions with a suggestion that if he comes, he may not be allowed into the Oval Office. That's what my sources say. I can't verify it, so I'm taking the official version that he was busy in London with prior arrangements. But the fact is, we are in a game where Trump is going to try to choose the South African ambassador for us, and therefore we may have to rely on high-level delegations going to do the business, while the embassy is a holding operation, a flag-flying operation, and a support operation rather than the main interlocutor with the USA.
So we are probably in a game here where the U.S. is going to want to choose even an ambassador for us. Remember, we still don't even have an ambassador appointed to the United States. So that's what Ibrahim Rasool said. So he clearly had the same information I had. He spoke to his own sources. I had mine. The president just last month was asked as well about Mcebisi Jonas and where that work is. This is what he said.
He is still my envoy for, you could call it North America as a whole. And his responsibilities are going to be clarified, because as it is now, he played a very key role in preparing our delegation, working together with various ministers and various officials to get our preparations at the top level to get on very well for us to be able to go and engage with the United States.
But then envoys are not only there to do just the background work. Envoys are supposed to meet with counterparts. They're supposed to set the stage. You don't just do that by being in South Africa and saying, oh, okay, this is what we're going to do when we get to the US, and then you stay here and everybody else goes. Envoys do more than that. So something is brewing, and we're not being told everything. Mark my words. We reached out to the presidency this morning for an interview about this, and the spokesperson told us that they never talk about work of envoys in public. We pressed further and asked if he can confirm if Jonas is still continuing with his responsibilities and if the US have accepted him as an envoy. And he said, and I quote, yes, he's continuing with his responsibilities. Envoys are different from ambassadors who require acceptance of their credentials. Countries don't necessarily need to grant official recognition to envoys. However, they are received officially as representatives of their respective president or head of state when they visit the designated country. So we then went further and asked, has he been received officially? And we're still waiting for a response to that question. So what's going on here? Let me know what you think is at play here. The former ambassador, Ibrahim Rasool, says we're playing a game here where the US will want to choose for us who must be our envoy, who must be our ambassador. And if the US refuses to officially receive Jonas as an envoy, what should we do? I mean, if they give him the cold shoulder, what's the point of having him as an envoy? He's not going to get any work done. Which then brings me back to the question I've asked before. Are we getting closer and closer to the reality that the US wants to choose people for us who must represent this country? Let me know your thoughts. 011-883-0702. WhatsApp's on 072-702-1702. Or maybe, by the way, maybe we should get one of Trump's favorite golfers and deploy them then as an envoy and ambassador. Are we getting to a point where we're going to start making such considerations? As a sovereign state? So scary to even consider.
Clement Manyathela, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856
92.7
and 106 FM.
Clemson. No, Banyana Banyana. Yo, I'm blind. I mean, even the goals are beautiful. If it's a case that Chiefs does not stand a chance there, I can bet Chiefs won't beat Banyana Banyana. Never.
Are you suggesting that if we put Kaiser Chiefs against Banyana Banyana, they'll be beaten flat? I do agree with you, though. I mean, what a brilliant performance last night. 4-0. And now they've secured their spot in the quarterfinals. As I said, we went to OR Tambo to welcome them, dedicated the entire show on just celebrating them as they arrived as champions, arrived back home from Morocco. And I have a feeling that we may be back at OR to welcome them back home as champions once again. Huh? What do you think? It's 20 minutes after 9 o'clock.
Your voice,
Your station.
your open line
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
on 702.
Hi, Clement. I just wanted to comment on that issue of Mcebisi Jonas. I mean, at the time when he was appointed, you know, a lot of us pointed out the fact that this was not a well thought out move, particularly because Mcebisi Jonas is the chairperson of MTN. MTN does business with Iran and Iran Cell. There's no way that Donald Trump would have accepted somebody like that to come and chat to him. And what experience really does Mcebisi Jonas have in navigating Washington? You know, so all those things need to come into it. I really, really think we need to call it out for what it is. The president just took one of his allies there. He used to also be, with MTN through Shanduka once upon a time. And for me, I really think that this was not well thought out and he wasn't going to get anywhere.
Good morning, Clement Manyathela and 702 listeners. Regarding Mcebisi Jonas, I think the writing was on the wall that it would be a non-starter. Those comments that were made would have came back to haunt him, and Trump and his guys, right-hand men, the Rubio and JD and all those Witkoff, either one of them would have taken offense to the comments, and therefore it wouldn't have been started. Thank you.
Clement Manyathela, man. Flores here from the Western Cape. Clement, I'm not sure why the presidency is so secretive about this whole ambassador and envoy. And I think what really is going to stand in Jonas's way was the remarks that he made about Trump a couple of months or years ago. So, yeah, they should come out clear to us, man. We as South Africans need to know. We cannot do our work if we don't have a representative in the US. Have a good show, bye-bye.
Yeah, and my thing is, I don't think we're getting full transparency here from the presidency about Mcebisi Jonas's work. If the president is so satisfied with his work, can they share with us what work has been done so far? And by the way, let's not confuse the questions we're asking about Mcebisi Jonas with his capacity. Because I have no issues with Mcebisi Jonas. I think he's very much capable of doing this task. Right? I do. But I also think that we can't have a government that just wants to keep on insisting on, for instance, oh, this is the person who's doing great work, when the person is being frustrated in the United States. So maybe if government shares with us what Mcebisi Jonas has managed to do without compromising the negotiations, that at least helps us, put us at bay, and we realize, okay, then work is doing. He is meeting with people there. But it doesn't help that we're not seeing any work. Hence the questions we are consistently asking. Where is he? What has he done so far? The information we're receiving is that they are not officially receiving him there. The information is he's getting the cold shoulder just like Ibrahim Rasool did. When is government going to realize that? Because time is running out. 30%. We've been slapped with a 30% tariff. The work of an envoy would be to start the negotiations or start setting the stage for South African government to start having conversations with the United States, the Trump administration officials. So if really the US doesn't want to work with Mcebisi Jonas, then keeping him there, how is that going to assist us? Maybe our government just needs to be honest. I don't know when they're going to be honest and say, we're facing frustrations there. Let's rather look at somebody else. Or let's then appoint an ambassador and obviously pray and hope that Donald Trump and his officials there are going to be happy with whoever we appoint. Because credentials must still be sent. They must accept those. And I wonder if we would have what's the word to use without using the other word? We would have the gall to reject the credentials of America's preferred ambassador to South Africa. Would we? Trump would hold a briefing the next day and probably announce 80% tariffs, because that's how it works there. In fact, not even a briefing. You'd go post on social media. We're in trouble. I don't know what we do, because even with an ambassador, what do we do? Do you get one of the golfers that Trump likes and say, go be an ambassador there? Because if you're going to get anyone from the ANC, even though they may be Afrikaans, they may be white, the Trump administration, I bet you they will find something wrong with that person.
The scarier thought for me is that Mcebisi Jonas hasn't been to the US yet in the time that he's been appointed as special envoy. And the even scarier thought is that Ramaphosa hasn't sent a delegation to negotiate a deal with Trump. But we've got no news on this. We've got no clarification on this. As far as I know, Ramaphosa thinks the relationship has been reset since their visit in the US and the whole Oval Office incident. But I doubt it's been reset. And we've got no news on this. All we know is that, hey, we are facing higher tariffs. And I doubt that we had any team going to negotiate. Eugene Rustenburg.
I guess we just have to accept the current crisis, the US-South Africa relations that are just terrible, and we just have to accept that it's Trump's time to dance. So we just have to wait until the dams are back, if they're going to come back, or if the Republicans, they feel someone who understands diplomatic relations, especially international relationship. So let's hope that, because I don't even think those 49 Afrikaners that went to US can even appease Trump, because it seems like he has just forgotten about them. I wouldn't be surprised to see them in the media complaining about the treatment in US. It would be interesting for that one. But as you can see, the Trump relationship with other international people globally is just terrible. So we just have to wait for the next 3.5 years until the Democrats are back or the Republicans feel someone who understands diplomacy. Sfiso.
Yeah, Sfiso. In fact, there were reports of some of the refugees, African refugees, complaining. Apparently, some of them were placed in hotels. I do remember seeing a video done by a South African woman in the US who says they've received calls for some assistance. I don't know if any of you have seen that. But Swiso is talking about complaints, and I think there've been some, and maybe not everybody is affected, all the refugees, but there've been some were placed in hotels and with no clarity of what's next. Some didn't even have food. I don't know if you've seen that video. If you've seen something else in as far as their settlement and them having been given proper plan as to what happens next, please let me know so we can clarify that. But that's the last video I saw. So yeah, what do we do? What do we do? Like right now, the fact that we still don't know what Mcebisi Jonas has been able to achieve. I mean, I would be shocked that he has not even been to America yet. I mean, that would be crazy. Huh? Already it was wild, the fact that he was not there when President Cyril Ramaphosa had the most important meeting ever. And we were told, oh, he's stuck in meetings. Yeah, please.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
Okay, I'll take more of your calls and WhatsApps on that. Just a quick reminder about the national dialogue that we're going to be hosting here as Prime Media. So I need you to send us an email if you want to be part of that on contact@702.co.za. So we're going to do the People's Dialogue ahead of the national dialogue. So what are the issues you think we need to be discussing, and do you want to attend? We want to be as representative as possible. So if you know a constituency anywhere around and you want to come through to be part of the People's Dialogue, we've already received lots of emails from people who want to participate, and we're going to be contacting you guys about the details. We'll announce more details as we go along. I just want to let you know now in advance, because there's going to be a time when we start now closing the door, because then we can accommodate like everybody. So if you want to be part of the People's Dialogue, or you want to suggest to us what are the key, most important issues that should be discussed at the People's Dialogue that we're going to be hosting here at Prime Media House ahead of the national dialogue, send us an email on contact@702.co.za. Give us your name, your contact details, and also if you want to suggest issues, do so, and then our team here at 702 will get in touch with you. It's 9:31.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
9:33. This is the 702 Open Line. We're taking your calls on 011-883-0702. Your WhatsApp's on 072-702-1702. I've been asking about Mcebisi Jonas, and I've been also asking you about what we should be doing next. I mean, is there even anything, is there even anything we can do as South Africa to satisfy the US? I mean, I see some of you are saying Derek Hanekom could possibly be the person that we put up as an ambassador. Oh, someone says, hey, Clement, why don't we send Helen Ziller? She's sharp. She's very diplomatic. The thing is, I mean, the ANC is also trying to manage the political dynamics here. I don't see the ANC sending anyone there that they don't trust. I mean, you don't want anybody who's going to get to the US and all they do is also de-campaign the African National Congress, right? You want someone who doesn't have politics at the forefront when they do this work of ambassador in the US. You want someone who's going to think about the interests of this country, whether they're coming from the ANC or they're coming from the DA or they're coming from any party, or they were part of the National Party, whatever it is. You still want them to push the interests of this country and not so much the interest of their political party. So that's quite important as well. Here's something else that I want to get your thoughts on. So we were talking with producers last week about these dogs that have mauled this toddler. And my goodness, this toddler died as a result, and the community was complaining that the dogs that killed her were often not put on a leash. So the owner understood, because there have been cases before when someone else in the community was injured by the same dogs, and then the owner still didn't do much. And I want to ask you, how do you deal with your dogs, especially when you are walking them, right? Do you put your dogs on a leash? I think the general rule is that the dogs must be on a leash, but let's be honest. Sometimes you're walking your dog and you want to allow it to just move around and be free, and you think, I'm still in control. And I've picked it up when I run, mostly in the afternoons, where people think, our dogs behave, and you don't put them on a leash because you think you're going to quickly be able to respond should the other dogs attack the dog or the dog runs towards other people. But often when I go running, I see dogs coming towards me and they want to, I don't know, they want to lick you, they want to do whatever. But the reality is not everybody appreciates that. Not everybody is comfortable with dogs coming over and playing with them. Some people are terrified. They are scared of dogs. I've been that person before. And I used to hate it when dogs used to come and want to play with me, because that used to terrify me. Not because I hate them, but because I just was scared of them. So do you put your dogs on a leash? And when you see someone who hasn't put dogs on a leash, no matter how small they are, what do you do? And I know some people feel like when you put a dog on a leash, it's a bit abusive. But what makes you a responsible dog owner? Huh? And I wonder what punishment should actually face reckless dog owners. And I'm not just talking here about dangerous dog breeds, right? Because obviously we are now talking about different precautions that you need to take. But I'm just talking generally. When you own a dog, do you put that on a leash when you're walking it? I do sometimes feel sorry for Ossie when I take him on a walk and I put him on a leash. Sometimes I feel, he wants to wander around. But I also think if there's Umama coming from work who's walking down the street, and then Ossie wants to go run towards her and she's scared of dogs, it's already too late. That person is already traumatized. If I think I'm going to be running there, if he's not on a leash and I'm going to remove him from this individual, you've already traumatized someone. How do you deal with that? So how do you navigate walking your dog, even around other dogs? 011-883-0702. WhatsApp's on 072-702-1702.
Travel isn't just about destinations. It's about the people you meet, the cultures you immerse yourself in, the stories you carry home. I'm Mcebisi Jonas, and on my travel feature, I take you on a journey beyond the guidebook. Each week, I connect with fellow travelers, insiders, and storytellers to bring you the heart of every place. Whether it's a hidden gem right here in South Africa or a dream destination abroad. Join me as we travel through conversations, memories, and inspiration. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
On 702.
20 minutes before 10 o'clock.
Good morning, Clemza and team. Clemza, on the issue of dogs. I love dogs. I think they're cute, but I don't want them jumping on me, especially if it's a stranger's dog. No. So it only makes sense that when you're taking your dog for a walk, keep it on a leash, because you might find joggers on the road and the dog starts chasing them. I just can't. The fear that comes over me when a dog just jumps or chases me, and then you'll find an owner saying, no, it doesn't bite. No, it's a friendly dog. It's friendly to you. But just realize that some of us are just fearful, guys. Let's all just be considerate. Thank you, Clems.
Morning, Clement. For me, I just feel like if you are walking a dog and there are these big dogs that people usually just like to let them run around, and I'm thinking, guys, if you know that you're walking a dog, please don't just put it in a leash, because a dog is a dog. It may change its mind and bite you, and you must bear the consequences. Don't go around fighting. So if you're walking a dog, make sure that when you see that you're around people, make sure that you put it on a leash. Don't say my dog is friendly. It's a dog.
Yeah. I honestly, let's be honest, right? I do think that there are some dog owners that just don't understand that there are other people that are terrified of dogs. I have met many dog owners who are trying to force you to love dogs, which is unfair. Like, I could have any other pet, and if you don't like cats, I'm not going to force you to love cats. But I do think that most dog owners I have come across are so inconsiderate. And I'm using myself as an example because I used to be terrified of dogs. And as I've said before, I grew up in a village where dogs were actually not companions as I know them to be now. Dogs were used to protect the home. You put them in the house, you'd lock the door, release them from their little house. They roam the yard and bark at anybody who tries to enter. That's the relationship I had with dogs where I grew up. So much later, when I come to Pretoria, I come to Joburg, I have friends now who have dogs, and I'm thinking, oh my God, what's that? And then the dogs are in the house, they're on the couch, and then when you go to visit them, the dogs are busy licking you all around. I don't want that. It's okay, guys. Right? It's okay that I don't want to have your dog lick me. It's okay that I don't want your dog in my house. And I just find that most dog owners were so inconsiderate. They see you as if you are inhumane, or you or you are just rude. No, there are people who just don't like dogs as pets, and they don't appreciate them in the way you do, and we need to respect that. So equally so, when you are walking your dogs, understand that there are other people who don't want your dog to be coming through and playing with them. And that's okay. There will be other people that your dog will run over them. They don't have an issue with them. They will play with them. They will hold them. It's going to be kumbaya. But that's not always going to be the case. And I think there are many, many, many dog owners who are inconsiderate. They expect you to just love their dog and find it cute and be okay with it licking you all over or wanting to play with you without understanding your own trauma or your own approach to dogs. And I hope we can be more considerate, Jay, as dog owners.
And 702 lenders, your dog is your dog. Anything that it does to any other person, a yard, it goes and poop in other people's front porch. You take responsibility for your dog. It's your dog. It bites somebody else, you're going to be held accountable and responsible. Like your dog for yourself, not for the rest of us. Keep your dog and your pets to yourselves. Thank you.
Good morning, Clement. It's Tuso here. This issue of dogs, Clement, it really needs to be treated like an emergency. Because now we have people like in the suburbs where people like you find a person is reversing their car, they're coming out of their yard. Fair and fine, it's okay. And they've got these vicious dogs that they know. You are the only one in that car. You are reversing your car out. No one is guarding those dogs. I'm running or walking, only to be attacked by those dogs. I don't know why people tend to do that. That thing of being free that much to the extent of saying you don't think of another person, you think of yourself. I think it needs to be looked at. It's a serious issue. And a lot of people are going to be either harmed by dogs or killed by dogs if this thing does not get attended to. Thank you, Clement.
Hi, Clement. I usually also hate it when I walk to the park and then you have dogs coming to smell your feet or anything. I'm not terrified of dogs. I love dogs, I love pets, but not just anybody's pet coming to me or touching anybody's pet. The one thing that they always say, the white people always say, they say, no, don't worry, don't bite. It doesn't bite. It's a very friendly dog. You know, this other colleague of mine had a very friendly dog, which bit his nose off. The dog that they had since he was 6 years old. It bit his nose off at the time he was around 19 years old. You know, that was a dog that they regarded as a friendly dog as well.
Clement, regarding people walking dogs, it's a disaster. I take my kids to Retondale Park in Pretoria every Friday and Sunday for their cross motor skills growth. Everyone obviously comes, dog lovers, dog walkers, and people are walking their dogs. However, there's a massive problem. There's one individual at that park who, whenever he sees me with my 3 little boys, he will release his dog and he will throw this round thing in our direction, and the dog will come running for that thing and it will just pounce on my kids, and he will just tell us, don't run, the dog is just playing. But it's a massive dog, and now my children hate dogs and they are terrified and they are traumatized.
Yeah, and that's why I don't want to limit this only to these big, scary pit bulls. Just generally, there are people that don't see your dog as little cute Tezzy, or whatever the name is. My dog's name is Aussie, and yes, he's cute. But I recognize that not everybody is going to find them cute. I recognize that not everybody is going to be comfortable walking into the house and the dog is there. So let's just be considerate as dog owners and stop expecting people to think of dogs as everybody to think of dogs as cute little things. We are not the same. And I've been there where I didn't even want to see, I don't want to be touched by a dog. In fact, walking in or seeing a dog come, I would normally just turn. If we are on the road and we're going opposite ways, I turn around. That's how terrified I was of dogs growing up. Derek, you're calling us from Centurion. Hi.
Bro.
Sure, man. Go ahead.
Sure, man. For me, my dogs, when I hold them around, put them on the leashes. But what I did, I put the big fence around my one of the small houses, and then I've got like big walls around my yard. So most of the time, they don't even know people from outside. So what I do during the day, I keep them in the cage, like it's a big cage. I've got 3 of these pit bulls. So what I do at night, I just open the cage. They can just run and run around. But I mean, what I realized as well, one of them was actually jumping over a 1.8 meters high wall.
Oh my goodness!
I put up a fence of about 500, 600 high on top of that wall, so that it doesn't really jump over. Because I realized in the morning when I woke up, the one dog was not even around, and I called the name. He will come running, jumping that wall as if just jumping like a 1 meter thing, you know.
Yeah.
So, but basically, I put up the cage. But one thing for me as well with the dogs, I really don't love dogs. I mean, they're good security. In my case, like, I'm not home most of the time, and I mean, there's nobody in my house. I know I've got those 3 friendly dogs there, friendly for me, and I know nobody will take chance to come over or do anything. I mean, it's been like this for almost 2-3 years now. I've got nobody jumping or coming into my yard. Even my gate, I've done a sealed gate. Like, if you walk outside, you see nothing inside my yard. And my dogs don't know anybody, you know, they just know me, my family, my children, wife, and few people. But other than that, friends, anybody else, nobody comes to my house.
What do you do when you've got visitors, Derek?
No, during the day, they're in the cages at the back. So nobody goes at the back.
Oh, okay.
So if you visit me, you sit in the house, sit in room, whatever, you do whatever you do. Later you go. But at night, like 6 o'clock or 6, I lock my gates. I'll let them loose in the yard. So anyone else who has any luck of theirs or anything, then I know they will meet the these dogs, and it's not going to be nice. But
all right, yeah, got you. Derek in Centurion, thank you for your thoughts. Barbara, you're in Centin.
Hi.
Good morning.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, I was just saying about walking dogs and dogs on leads, and what concerns me, especially in Gallimano, is that there are these ferocious dogs behind the gates, and they bark and bark and bark. It's horrific because I'm just scared someone in the house will push the gate, and they'll kill my dogs. And I'm not saying my dogs, they do bark because it's horrific. The dogs, and then they cross the road, they've got 3 dogs all pushing the gates. Now, I walk my dogs for a bit of peace and quiet, and I'm not saying you can't have dogs. My dogs do bark. They're dogs. But I don't know what you do, because I actually scared to take my dogs out because I just don't know if someone's got the gate open. And, I walk around my complex. I'm just too scared to go out the gate. It's not comfortable. I mean, you live in a suburb and you want to walk around, look at the houses, and I can't. It's very worrying, and I just wonder if the pet owners could just look out the window and see what their dogs are doing. They're home. Yeah. They can see their home. Just to see what their dog's doing.
Yeah, because it gets scary.
It's horrific. It's horrific. I've got to pick up my dogs and try or get them on the other side of the pavement, and they are scared and they are barking. So it's a very unhappy walk.
Yeah, true.
And I've stopped. My husband walks them because I just can't handle it.
No, I agree with you, Barbara. Even running, again, or when I'm taking a walk, but mostly running, it's so unpleasant because, the barking is actually quite scary. Sometimes I think, some of the walls are not even high enough, and I wonder if the dogs are not going to be able to jump out. It really, really is scary.
Hi, Clement. I don't have a problem with dogs. I grew up with dogs all my life. However, I do believe that dog owners need to stop enforcing their love of dogs to the general public. When they're at home in their private properties, they can do what they want, let their dogs run around as much as they want. But when you're in public, you need to be considerate of the fact that there are other people out there, and there are other people who have just as much rights as the rights that you are trying to give to your dog. This is Tid.
Morning, Clems. I think people forget one thing, that dogs will always be dogs. It can be free and all that. Yeah, it won't bite you for 5 years or so, but it will change. One day it will change. So this thing of saying, my dog is so free, it doesn't bite, it doesn't work. People just need to keep their dogs on the leash all the times, because you'll never know which side of the bed, if the dogs have a bed, which side of the bed did the dog wake up that day. So stop saying my dog is free and then all that. No, come on, guys. Keep your dog on the leash all the time. Thank you. Great show as always, Clams.
Hi, Clement. This is Caroline calling from Santon. So first, I just want to say I'm calling as a dog owner myself, and I'm shocked to hear how so many people are calling, but nobody's talking about training dogs. And this is something that I think is missing in a lot of pet owners, that they don't take the time to train their dogs. Now, I'm not saying that if you train your dog 100% of the time, it's 100% going to listen to everything you say to the T. But I am saying that too many dog owners are irresponsible and don't take the time to do behavioral training with their dogs, and this results in a lot of behavioral problems in the dogs. And I absolutely agree with what most of the callers are saying. I myself, like I say, I'm a dog owner and I love my dog, but I also don't want some stranger's dog coming and interacting with me uninvited, because I understand that it can be uncomfortable, and I agree that too many dog owners are irresponsible in their management of dogs in public places. But more than that, Clement, I'm curious to know how you got over your dog phobia.
So I've got a few friends who've got dogs. I've got a friend who used to, whenever I go to her house, I would interact with these dogs, and then she would bring them to my house. And I mean, it got to a point where at some point I would ban the dogs from my house. And then I started now allowing her to bring the dogs, but they must be in the garden. I don't want them in the house. So it started slowly and slowly like that. The next thing is I could hold the dog. In fact, there are videos where I couldn't even hold the dog because every time it tries to lick me, I would be so terrified. So I would now they would give me the dog and I'll hold it for a few seconds and put it down. So it's been such a slow process. I bet you my entire immediate family is shocked at the fact that I've got a dog now. And if I tell you from just getting the dog and from saying it'll never be, remember I've told you guys before that I don't want a dog in my bedroom. Well, guess what? Ossie has been sleeping in my bedroom the whole week, since last week. But he'll never get on the bed. I still insist. I don't want a dog on a bed or on top of a couch. That is not happening. But that just tells you how slowly you start moving towards just understanding things differently. And I'm loving Ossie like I do. He sleeps in the bedroom now. Well, he'll be there on the floor, but he'll never get on the bed. And I hope I will never come to you one day and say, oh, guess what? He's now getting into bed with me. I find that to be crazy. I'm never doing that. But yeah, that's how I got over it. Slowly, one step at a time. It's 2 minutes before 10.
Travel isn't just about destinations. It's about the people you meet, the cultures you immerse yourself in, the stories you carry home. I'm Mcebisi Jonas, and on my travel feature, I take you on a journey beyond the guidebook. Each week, I connect with fellow travelers, insiders, and storytellers to bring you the heart of every place, whether it's a hidden gem right here in South Africa or a dream destination abroad. Join me as we travel through conversations, memories, and inspiration. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.